You're trying out a new fighting game. Whether your first instinct is arcade, training mode, or even jumping straight online, you're presented with this screen.
Who dares to enter the mayhem?
The most important decision you can make in any fighting game is what character you choose to play as. You're choosing what set of tools you'll be using to interact with the rest of the game with. Movement, normals, specials, EX moves, supers, combos, your whole game plan. With all the factors, it can take a few tries to pick the character that feels right for you. Sometimes you can't find that character, leading you to leave behind a game you were excited about playing. But have you ever been on that screen, cycling through the characters, observing the portraits, and you see that character you visually click with? When you play them, they just meet every expectation with a fun moveset. Yeah, for me that's Poliwrath in Pokemon Close Combat. Kinda. Although I'm partial to water when it's an element in fiction, I've never had any sort of reverence for Poliwrath, despite me growing up loving Pokemon. But Pokemon Close Combat changed that drastically. The way he's drawn in this game just caught my eye, and before I knew it, I had a new Pokemon in my top 5. I've been playing a lot of this game, and although every character is fun in its own right, except you. I don't like you. I hardly ever find myself wanting to switch off of Poliwrath. His tools are so interesting, I kinda just wanted to make a video saying Poliwrath good. This isn't really a guide as much as it is just an appreciation. So what about him has me so mentally married to this Pokemon? Wait, no, not like that. I know they're animal. I didn't. Starting with his main combo ender and how he interacts with his unique mechanic. Power Up Punch sends Poliwrath lunging forward as he does a huge uppercut. Once landing the move, he does a sweet spin and a flex, powering up his uppercut moves. He can power up his moves to level 4 as indicated by the hand underneath his health bar. When starting out, you might think he's lacking in damage, but once you let him cook, his touches become much more valuable. This is especially saucy as stocks carry over between rounds, so prioritizing this move early leads to snowballing in the later rounds, and in less interactions. Poliwrath also has interesting projectile play. His bubble projectile has 2 variations. Fast Bubble sends out a medium-sized bubble projectile that goes almost full screen. The second version is the same but travels slower and lasts longer. Reminds me of a certain reptile. Although these bubbles won't be popping you up in the air, Poliwrath can use different speeds to play mind games similar to throwing different Hadouken speeds in Street Fighter, which is definitely needed considering parries in the game. But more importantly, he can use Slow Bubble as cover to walk behind, which is a key part of his neutral. Slow Bubble also has big potential for converting off of, as long as you aren't in recovery. You get small combos from it surprisingly often. But say they throw a projectile back, Poliwrath has no interest in fighting a fireball war, because with Poliwrath's slide, you can low profile right under projectiles while putting yourself at advantage with a knockdown. This slide is an incredibly fun tool to use, catching approaches, retreats, and just anyone not blocking low. It also side switches, which makes you think a little harder when using it in the corner. Unless you're me and use monkey brain sliding corner. You can prevent this by hitting them at the very end of the move, the very tip of the hitbox, which also gives him much better frame advantage. You'll also notice you earned 1 bar of hypermeter, which will be very important later. But knocking down your opponent isn't the only way to earn meter. You also get a bar from successfully throwing them. And Poliwrath's throw is surprisingly good, specifically his forward throw, as it is able to be cancelled for a bar of meter, called a C cancel, leading to a full combo, but only if you have 2 meter. It doesn't use 2 meter, only 1, you just need to have 2 for it to work. It's weird, I'm too dumb in game design to tell you why it's like that. It's also what allows Poliwrath to cancel most of his special moves, leading into his most crazy looking and fun combos. But what else can we spend meter on? How about the belly bubble? Normally this is a move where Poliwrath creates and pops a bubble mid-air to change his momentum, and while this is a beautiful move in itself, allowing more air options to mix and hit the opponent, when you spend a meter to EX the move, the large bubble stays out and slowly moves forward and then slowly lists down. An incredible setup tool and one of the main reasons I love this character. You set up bubble for keep away, set up bubble for combos, for lockdown, to cover you, and you set up bubble for mix up. The Whirlpool aids in that very nicely. The Whirlpool by itself is another main reason I love this character. It's Poliwrath's main Oki tool, but it's also just a fantastic tool in general. Poliwrath places a Whirlpool beneath him that stays out a decent time and hits the opponent low multiple times, locking down, pulling them in, leading to exclusive combo routes on hit and letting you pressure or set up bubble on block. It's also the best follow-up for C-canceling your forward throw, giving you a really sick looking combo. But that's not where it ends. As you saw before, you can dive into the Whirlpool, or actually dive into anywhere while the Whirlpool is out, and have options from there. Either you can let it ride and pop out all the way on the other side, you rise early with an up input, or you can pop out doing a big fuck you invincible uppercut that's also buffed by your power-up stocks. Just make sure they don't block it, as it's comically unsafe, leaving you in a slow-mo recovery while your opponent watches you leisurely for the perfect moment to pummel your ass forever trying. But layer all that together with the bubble setups and the slide, you can see the puzzle all coming together. You're in neutral and set up EX bubble. Now you could walk in behind it, go for a jump in, or slide in if they try to back up. Or you could enhance the mind games by throwing out Whirlpool. You could time the dive in so that as you come out, the bubble is landing on them. You can pop up in front of them or behind them, left-right mix up, or go for a throw. Or if they try to jump to avoid it, or walk forward to avoid it, either the bubble gets them, or you use your uppercut to check that option. You could even just ignore it after you place it. Just the presence of it is menacing enough for some players. Just having it out for potential is good. In addition to all of that, his water gun super is a full screen fast projectile that leaves 3 lingering bubbles for Oki and further pressure. I hope you're seeing why his game plan makes me crank. He also has a body splat move for cross ups like a grappler, which I love. His 2-way is really good for tick throwing, and throwing leads to your big damage C cancel combos. And his belly bubble combos into C canceled power up punches are just seriously, I'll never get tired of doing this combo route. Takeaway is I love this huge, massive, fucking big fuck off frog.